Howdy y'all, it's Merina. And I've got to hit y'all with my CRAMATHON Wrap Up. Okay guys, so this was my first ever readathon. That being said, I would love to say I crushed it, but I crushed it in a way that is not good. I only finished 3 books out of 7. I only completed 3 challenges out of the 7 challenges, and I'm pretty disappointed in myself. However, if you guys can't notice, I have been doing my hair this week, and I just had a bunch of stuff to do that I didn't realize needed to be done until... But without further ado, let's just get on into the books that I completed. So the first challenge, as you guys know, was to read a predicted 5-star, and for me that was To Kill a Kingdom. I read it, I loved it. It was almost 5 stars. It was more like 4.5 stars. I gave it 4.5 stars on Goodreads, but guys, it was so good. I did a really in-depth review on Goodreads about this, which I normally don't do. I normally am a mood reviewer, meaning I write my reviews based on my mood. But I took notes on this book because I enjoyed it so much, and I just had to really I just was like, you know what, I really need to sit down and just put my thoughts together and review this book because it deserves that. It was really good. It's about this Princess Lyra. She's a siren princess, and some stuff goes down. The Sea Queen turns her into a human, and she basically goes on this journey with the pirate slash prince Elian, who is hunting sirens to kill them. He wants the species to be destroyed, and here this siren human girl is aboard his ship, and it just gets amazing. I will say it is slow at some points. The slow parts are made up for in the rest of the story because this has great world development. It has great character development. The characters you don't really get emotionally attached to until about page 143, 145-ish, and that's when the characters become really likable and you begin to really get invested into their relationships with one another, all of them being included. Even the supporting characters are great. 4.5 stars. This book was worth it. The next challenge I completed was to read a book that I would not normally pick up, and that was Impulse. This book, it destroyed me. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. And the reason for that being is I think everything the author talked about in this book is such an important. Things like this need to be talked about more. She really tried to get into the mind of mentally ill people, and suffering from bipolar myself and severe depression and anxiety, I feel like she represented that very well in this book, but I feel like she tried to tackle too many issues at once. I feel like she should have picked a few issues to really get in depth about and jump into that rather than try to cover all of these different issues, because I think that kind of took away from the book itself. The ending, let me just go ahead and tell you, if you decide to read this, you are not ready for the ending. You will never be ready for the ending no matter how much you prepare yourself. She does have a way even with writing it like in poetry form. Like, she has a way of really getting a grasp of your heart and your feelings toward these characters, and the end just is, if you want a book with a happy ending, then I wouldn't even. It was really hard for me to get into. It does have a lot of trigger warnings. It has trigger warnings for rape, for suicide, for addiction, for self-harm, and numerous other trigger warnings. It is a difficult read if you do suffer with mental illness yourself. Thankfully, I can read this without being triggered, but some of you may not be able to do that. So definitely just pay attention. If you start to feel like you're being triggered, put the book down. It's not worth it. She did a great job with this book, but I feel like had she stuck with quality rather than quantity, I guess you could say, in the disorders. That would have helped her case with this book. But I will be reading more from her. She is so interesting what she has to say and the way that she portrays the people with these issues. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars because of the fact that she tried tackling so much at once, but other than that, it was a really good book. And the last and final and third challenge that I completed was to read something other than your standard novel. And I chose an audiobook, and I chose The Prince and the Guard, a novella from the Selection series. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I really hated the prince. It just helps my case in that he was not for America. He was never good for her. It just, it made me dislike him even more, and I did not think that was possible. I was like, it's possible. And it's happened. Like, he irritates me. Everything about him irritates me. Now, that being said, I give The Prince and the Guard 3 out of 5 stars because I hated the prince, but I loved the guard. Forever ship America and Aspen, hands down. They were meant to be together. I don't know what happened to Kara Cass whenever she decided, let's put her with Maxon, but your girl was some type of way because, no. It's just the way that the story is told, and the story from the opposite perspective just made it even more clear that Maxon was not as concerned for America as Aspen. I mean, you do have history. Aspen in America did have history, and of course he would be more invested into her, but Maxon was just 10 ways of confused, and whenever he called Celeste sexy, even though this was before he picked, who he picked, it's a spoiler if it's a selection, if you haven't read the selection, I mean, come on. And when he said, I was like, now come on, Maxon, like, did that offend anybody else? Did I get offended on America's behalf because he called Celeste sexy? Does it count even if it's before all the stuff that goes down? I mean, I don't know, but I did not like it. I did not like that, and it kind of irritated me, and I kind of got defensive for America. Those are the 3 challenges that I completed. I would love to sit here and say I read 7 books in 7 days like I was hoping I would, but you know what? 3 books is better than 1 book or no books. So good job, Merina. Good job. Okay, guys, so yeah, I hope you guys did a little bit better than me with the CRAMATHON. If not, we always have the BookTubeathon coming up at the end of July, I think. Don't forget I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So yeah, I'll see you guys later.